Okay, sorry, some of the what?
Some of the comments on it were like, "Oh, this is like really inspiring," and I'm like, I don't know how it's inspiring at all.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. Like that's if it's inspiring to you, that's great. Yeah, I mean, that's happened with a couple of videos where it's like I had no idea that it would actually like be received the way that it was.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. So you're teaching kines? Do you have a lot of students that are they more so strength and conditioning focused, or are they
Did you go
more?
to a community college, Jack?
Yeah,
You did. So, I mean, think back to where back then for you and maybe your
yeah.
classmates, like what were you thinking, right?
I mean, so like I genuinely, I was thinking I want to be a strength and conditioning coach.
Right.
That's
Okay,
why
good.
I
Yeah.
actually, so I started, I went to Humboldt initially,
Yeah. Oh,
and
okay.
it was an environmental engineering major, but I was on the track team and I wanted to play football.
Okay.
So I ended up going to Cerritos after
Yeah.
that, played football there, and then switched while I was there. I think actually like my freshman year of college, senior year of high school, sometime around there, Mike Barwis had
Oh,
a
nice. Yeah.
yeah, he had a show
Yep.
on
Yeah.
it was called American Muscle.
There's only like 4 episodes, right? Like it
Yeah,
never went.
it wasn't around for a long time, but I watched it and I was like, man, this is really cool. And at the time, like I was recovering from my senior year was I had an ACL surgery and really liked my PT. He was super into actually like CrossFit at the time, but he was like very aggressive with the with rehab because of
Nice.
that. He was like really into he trained and I thought that was really cool. And so I was like, okay, cool. Like maybe I want to be a physical therapist, strength and conditioning coach, something like that. I mean, I love training and I love
Yeah.
lifting. So then when I went to Cerritos, I switched my major to kines. So I was looking for something that would be strength and conditioning heavy, but no, I mean that makes sense. Like I don't know if there was anybody else that was like necessarily like super driven to
Yeah, I think it's more that like a lot of students go like, oh, I want to be like PT, and then they'll have like these crazy things. Oh, I want to be like I'm not sure trying to shoot them down, but they're like, I want to be in like an MD. And they just
mm,
don't know, I think. They're like, I want to be an MD and then this type of doctor as well. I'm like, yeah, like that's not like how that
yeah,
works. And I
okay.
think it's part of it's like there's just a disconnect. There's a huge disconnect between what we, I'll just use the academic setting. There's a huge disconnect between what we do and the rest
Yeah,
of college. They have like
yeah,
no idea what we do, right? And then so I don't know, but sometimes it's that counselors they just don't know. They just say stuff to these kids, these
yeah,
students, and the students don't know. Then like my job is to kind of like tell them what that looks like, what these things are, and then
yeah,
it's like it's good to have these dreams. Like people are like, oh, I want to be, I'm just gonna work for the Lakers. I'm like, yeah, like so let's go to a graduation. So look at this graduation. There's 2,000 majors here. Kinesiology majors graduating. That's only one college. Like, how are
right.
you standing out against these folk, right?
Yeah.
Um, to
Yeah, no, it's super interesting. And I think like it's like I got a degree in human performance and then I got a master's in sports management. And I kind of decided on that because I thought the business end of things was going to be more applicable to whatever I ended up doing. I got it during COVID and then I opened my own gym, so it ended up not not really mattering necessarily. But I do think it's interesting like how many of those people will probably just not end up working in a kines related
right,
field almost at all. But I think one of the disservices, at least from like my undergrad, is if there's not like a practical, even if you're starting as like a strength and conditioning person,
right,
I think that there needs to be a lot of practical application to like just training a regular population. And honestly, a lot of that I think should be like very basic in terms of what the science of it is, but there needs to be elements of that course that are rooted in marketing
right,
and sales because eventually that ends up being your job. Like if you're running a gym, it does not matter how good you are at training people if you can't articulate how good you are at training
right.
people, if you can't produce consistent results, if you can't stand out in some way, if you're not comfortable in front of the camera, if you don't want to call people and actually make a sale, if you get really personal with like, oh well, I designed the logo and I wrote the workout and I sold the membership and now this person's canceling, and it's like that's like a huge hit to your ego
Right,
if
right.
you like deal with that. And I don't know. I think that there could be a lot more in the way of like practical application, especially with stuff online. Like I think communication elements, like communication courses and how to, target a specific audience or like how to speak on camera and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe that's developing or something
I think
like
that's
it.
about based on what I know. I don't know anything, but I think you're right. You're right with all that stuff. Because even before, like whether you got just a certificate, whatever you took a NASM or whatever, whether you got a degree, there's really not much difference between the two. Like you didn't
Yeah.
require as going to school for someone who didn't go to school. Like there's not people like, oh,
Right.
I got a degree. I'm like, yeah, and sometimes that like degree hurts you in some ways because you think you know so much. Like you lack some of those development characteristics, right? So I think
Yeah.
the major needs to change from all those aspects. I think even just like more hands-on. There's not enough like hands-on courses. Everything is theory or whatever. And
Yeah.
then sometimes you have professors who didn't go through the grind like we did, right? They're very smart. They went through bachelor's, master's, doctorate.
Right.
They're teaching. They've actually never coached anybody, whether that's Gen Pop or a large team. They've never done
Yeah.
it. Now they're teaching it. And like that gets trickled down over and over. So now at some point you're just getting these people who can just talk it, which
Yeah.
is cool, but you're missing so much.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a huge point. Like I think back to like my undergrad. I don't know. I mean, I got some experience with this, like I guess my junior senior year, but senior year more so because I ended up being an intern for our strength and conditioning program. It's a
Right.
very small school. We had 31 varsity sports. We only had one strength and conditioning coach,
Right.
and ended up like ended up getting a lot of experience that year just because there was a lot of work to be done, and it really couldn't be done by one person, which is I think was crazy. But it's such a small school, they didn't have a budget to hire full staff or anything like that. In my junior year, I ended up going and doing personal training at a gym in Omaha,
Mhm.
which I think was to my benefit because a lot of that was just like walking the floor and trying to pull people
Right.
and do their intro session, sign them up for a membership or whatever it was. So you got to deal with like objections. But going through the rest of it, if I didn't have that experience, then
Right.
trying to work with a Gen Pop when it's like literally the opposite approach of like these people don't have to be here, and
Right.
more so, not even do they not have to be here, they're paying you to be here, so
Right.
they need to like enjoy this, they need to vibe with you. Whereas like if you go and just train with a team,
They have
you
to be
can,
there.
dude, you can
You
say
could be
whatever
crappy, yell at them, whatever, right?
yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can be the most off-putting person ever, and as long
Right.
as like five of them vibe with you, like I think it's fine.
Right.
But then like even the experience that I did get with being an intern, I was actually able to like write a program and then
That's
deliver
cool.
the
Dang, that's
program
good. Yeah.
and need to adjust parts of that program or give at least like some insight and have some oversight to what I was writing, because I think it's a huge disservice if you get out of a degree and there hasn't been that element of the actual application, because I've genuinely never written a program that I didn't have to edit.
Right. 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 You're right. Oh crap, this didn't fit. Like, what did I do that for? Dang it.
Yeah, timing wasn't right,
Right.
the implements weren't available,
Right.
or like even a one-on-one setting, like they have some issue that didn't come up in their screening or whatever, or their intake, and so now you need to make an adjustment for the last 3 weeks of this program or something. And I think that's a huge miss for a lot of these people.
Yeah, so I don't know what
But
the fix is because it's just a lot, right? You have to learn this because like you kind of like you said earlier, it's like you're trying to convince these people to work out. Number
mhm,
one, that's hard, and then
yeah,
you're convincing them to pay you on top of that. Like,
yeah,
you're supposed to do that. Like, you didn't learn that through your curriculum, and I think you
yeah,
gotta learn some of that stuff. Right? Like, that's your hardest thing to do. Like you're convincing people they should enjoy this, and then like you said, it's like you also got to create like a fun element to it, right? In a team setting, you don't have to. Like people say, like you don't need to make it fun. Like what I have to. In the private sector, we have to because you have to earn their business to make them come back, right? So you have to make it fun, and whatever fun is very subjective to each person as well, right?
yeah, yeah, 100%. So teaching at the junior college, you need a master's. Do you have a teaching credential as well?
No, you just show up with the master. Even like, because I think, yeah, I think it's all a shit show, right? Because let's say I had a doctorate even, which
Hmm.
I will have it one day. It doesn't mean I can teach.
Yeah, yeah,
So you
yeah,
just go through school and learn everything and not coach a person, and now you're
yeah,
teaching
yeah,
students at the university level or the junior college level is crazy to me. And
yeah,
there's
yeah,
elements of this out there.
yeah,
And some people don't realize that. You're like, dude, this person's been teaching for 50 years or whatever. They've
yeah,
never coached a person. It's
yeah,
crazy to me. And it's like, so
yeah,
even like, so all of this is kind of like messed up
yeah,
in a lot of ways, right? So
yeah.
yeah.
That was the department chair for my program for my undergrad. Was he actually did own, I think it specifically was like a kettlebell gym or something,
Yeah,
but he
okay.
and his wife were pretty into like CrossFit at the time. He was like, this was 20, 14, 15 or something like that, and he was like already wearing like barefoot shoes and stuff. So he was like very tuned into what was happening in the private sector, which I thought was great. Especially like I'd always wanted to open a gym since I saw that show with Mike Barwis and stuff. Um, no, but what's funny is I think that exists in a lot of different areas though too, like where you get somebody who's maybe like a communications or mathematics, like I don't know, probably communications or like even a business major
Yeah.
professor where they've like never run a business or they've
Yeah.
never
Hey,
inter interviewed somebody or needed to hire or develop talent or anything like that, and then they give information on like how to market to somebody that's all like really theoretical and like not necessarily what's happening, and also doesn't include like social media or any of the
oh, yeah,
aspects that
yeah.
we're like really leaning on in
Yeah.
this day and age. No, that's super interesting.
So
Okay.
you've done some hiring now,
Yeah.
generally, like what are some characteristics you look for when you're hiring somebody?
Okay. So I think there's a something that I have seen, and I've seen brands do this well. I've seen brands do it really not well at all. I don't think that there can be a divide, what do you want to call it, philosophically or whatever, between your front of house and the delivery of your service.
Mhm.
I think that organizationally, it's maybe fine to recognize that that's a good pathway to go through, like having a more sales manager, fitness manager, or something, or like a studio manager, head trainer.
Mhm.
Uh, some brands combine those into one role. I
Mhm.
think that depending on what the service is, what the expectations of that location in particular are, I think that can be either better beneficial or detrimental depending on bandwidth. But one of the most detrimental things of that I have seen is people that are not bought into, and this is speaking like mostly specifically with boutique fitness, but I guess it could probably apply to like a mom and pop or a CrossFit box where they have like one style of training that they really emphasize. Um, People need to be interested in the thing. Like you can't, I genuinely believe that in a lot of ways, gyms have replaced churches in communities.
Mhm.
And it's a lot of and the way that I recognize that really was that like my grandparents are like like super devout Catholics. My grandfather still goes to church, like he goes to mass like most days. um, all of the benefits that they have gotten from their church in particular, and this has been over the course of the last 50, 60 years, I derive from the gyms that I belong to. So like that's their social circle. It's their kind of emotional support. They're there for things like he used to. My grandfather used to run a networking group through their church. They go and interact with that community on holidays and big events throughout the year and stuff along those lines. They really identify with it. It's something that is ritualistic. It's something that's emotional, and I think a lot of that can be found in a gym. But I also believe then that if you were to go to a church and then like ask the priest where they go to church, and they're like, well, I go to the one down the street because this is this is just what I like tell people, but I go and do this thing. I think that's a huge miss.
Yeah.
And that is probably one of the most important things I think when hiring is if you talk to people that are successful at hiring and developing talent as coaches specifically for like boutique fitness. There's this guy, Andrew Stern. And is Stern? Yeah, Andrew Stern. Anyway, he's worked for Exponential for a couple of different brands, and he has a saying where it's like your participation is your application.
Mhm.
So if you come to my studio and you're like, hey, I really want to be a coach here, you're like, sick. When's the last time you took a class? And the answer is like, well, I've never actually really taken a class, but like I kind of see your guys' stuff on social media and it looks cool. And like I think I'd be a good fit. It's like you don't know what we're doing.
All
And
right.
you can have sort of an idea about it, but even if it is a franchise model, every location will kind of have their own thing and they'll have their groups of people, and like that can sometimes get clicky and you have to manage that. But I genuinely I think you have to like believe in the thing. I don't think that you can be successful with either leadership or team members that are not bought into whatever that is. You can't have like an absentee like franchisee where it's the same as running like a McDonald's or a Wendy's franchise where it's like this is an investment. I like in theory I kind of like fitness and like this is a
Right.
business model that I think makes sense. You have to really be in it. And I think once you start breaking away from that, I think it really just starts to deteriorate your culture that you've found. So that's probably my main thing is like I can teach people to do the like teach people the system of
Right.
what we're doing, and whether that's coaching, and especially if they have a baseline understanding of like, okay, I got to keep people safe, and this is sort of what we do in the micro, and I need to be able to triage movements and maybe make a regression or progression somewhere. You can teach them the rest of the system, and then when it comes to sales, I think as long as they enjoy training and in that way specifically, and they can then talk to people like intelligently about what's happening throughout the week in the workouts, and sometimes those people even see them taking those classes and working out that way. That's probably my biggest thing
Yeah.
is like good people that are interested.
Right. No, that makes sense. Because you see guys, they want to work with athletes. I'm like, dude, you're doing a bro split. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not saying you can't train athletes, but like, there's a disconnecting between what you feel, what they should feel, and all these things. And you're not gonna market yourself that way if you look a certain way you want things. Like, I don't market to bodybuilders.
right.
I work with a few, it's easy, it's fun, it's different, but I
Yeah,
would be very tired if I had to do that all day, every day, versus just doing with the population that I want to work with. Okay, so
yeah.
you posted a couple of things, maybe more on the, so you do a good job on Instagram of posting varied content. You post some stuff about just some humor,
Mm.
some training stuff, some just little quotes, and then some like men's health stuff. Like, talk to me about all these elements in how you post your Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. So this is so I'll be super transparent about this. When I started my account in January, I was in kind of like a bad place, dude. I don't know if you've seen that on my
Yeah,
page.
a little bit. Yeah, you talked about it.
I'm 5 months sober now. I was in a bad spot for like 2 years. I was doing some drugs and stuff, and we won't get into that. But
Sure.
uh, I stopped doing them. So I was like, all right, I need a project. I'm gonna try and build this online coaching thing, and I'm gonna start a new Instagram. Along with that, I was like, if I'm gonna go all in on it, I want this to pop off. So I hired a mentor for Instagram and got put into like a course or a container or whatever you want to call it. So I had a coach kind of reviewing some of my stuff, and there was like a 30-day kind of plan for your content. And throughout that, like the biggest takeaway that I came away with was that because this is something that I've really struggled with a lot is like trying to niche down, right? And
Yes.
a lot of people struggle with that. And instead of niching down, the way that I think about it now is like branching out and using that as sort of top of funnel. So, like, I think that, and this is kind of a common thing people are saying now, but it's like you are the niche, which
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean that like you are the only person that you can help. But if you think about it like a funnel, and I'll do this little kind of thing here. Boom. If I post about jujitsu and that I'm
A
Catholic
little
and
higher, Jack.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay,
So
I see that. Okay.
if I'm this is now like it's still a funnel, but really it's a file, right? So if I post about jujitsu and the fact that I'm Catholic and I have a dog and I'm married and I'm sober and I don't know, whatever other I play guitar, snowboard,
Right.
weightlifting, 12 other things. Somebody, especially with trial reels, what's going to happen with that is that I'm basically going to attract people from all of those kinds of different sectors.
Hmm.
And eventually, what that ends up with is me to my core is like, these are the sort of the things that I define myself by, or I would like to be allowed to define myself by publicly. These are things that I'm interested in, things that I've done. And what happens is like, great, I get somebody that is interested in jujitsu, and they follow me and they kind of opt in, and I then get somebody that's like interested in guns and they opt in. But then I post that I'm Catholic, and one of those people doesn't like the other thing for
Right.
whatever reason, and they end up leaving. And then by the time I get to a call with someone where it's a consultation, I know that we share a similar worldview in some way, because if we're super different and you're like a person that hates guns and hates dogs but loves cats, and I don't know, is of a different religion necessarily or
Okay.
whatever, like you have a totally different worldview. Not that any one of those things would make me unable to coach you, but I don't always understand like what's going through your head, what your experience is through life, what parameters you have to work with. Maybe you're in a different geographic region that I've never been to. I don't even understand. Like telling you go take 15,000 steps and you're like, yo, it's snowing outside.
Going.
Like, and that's, I mean, I definitely would, I'd ask that, but yeah, that's basically where that is coming from. Is I think people have put a lot of emphasis on trying to curate whatever their personal brand, and unless it's something that is genuinely authentic in the way of like, instead of creating content, I'm sort of just documenting my life, and this is really what I'm doing. Number one, it's you can feel that it's inauthentic. Like you can totally sense that. And like the way that I look at making content now, and this is even Carly told me this the other day, because I was like, some of my videos weren't hitting, and I was like, why are they not hitting? Like they're not being received. And she's like, honestly, your content kind of sucks right now. Like she's like, I could tell that, like, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, with the stuff that you were like posting, you like genuinely were you cared about, and were passionate maybe, or it was just a real thing that you had done that day or thought about that day. And now, because like you stopped doing high rocks, so you're not running as much, you tore your pecs, so you're not training as much, you're not doing jujitsu because of both of those things, whatever, and you're like bummed out, and I can tell that you're just like saying stuff.
Right.
I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So let me kind of go back to the drawing board and just talk about what I am talking about. And I had a video, I think yesterday, get like 10,000 views or something like that.
Mm.
Which was great, because it like confirmed, okay, yeah, she was right about all of that. But it becomes exhausting if you're putting out like a curated image of yourself that's not
Right.
really real. And there's sort of a balance. Like I don't think that you need to tell the world like every single crazy thing that you've ever done. Like I've posted about sobriety. I don't feel like that needs to be my thing
Yeah,
entirely.
your only identity is like you're a sober guy,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, 100%. And I also like, I'm super conscious of using that as like a grift to get clients. Like I don't want to be the guy that's like, number one, I don't want to coach anybody on sobriety. I'm not qualified to do it. I have no idea how I would ever coach anybody else on it, because in my experience, what I did was I just stopped doing everything. And I haven't considered going back to doing it. I haven't had an urge to do it. It has not been really that difficult to just physically not do something.
Yeah.
Um, so that's not an insight that I think a lot of people have. And I
I
don't.
like that. I mean, that's very interesting because sometimes people will go through an experience
Mhm.
to think they can do it, right? They just
Yeah, no, and
speaking of
that's,
dad, the
yeah,
kid's 2 months old, and I'm gonna give the fatherly advice. I'm like, dude, who are you, man? Stop, cut it out, you know? But so I
yeah,
think it's good to have that awareness about whatever it is that like, okay, like, yeah, I've gone through the experience. I feel comfortable with it, but does not mean it qualifies me, right?
yep,
And I think
100%.
sometimes that can be a detriment in certain things. Like, let's say you've been Olympic lifting for 8 years
Mhm.
and
Yep.
you placed, and something like, no, I don't want to coach. But like sometimes, like some people should be doing that. Like you should be the one
Yeah.
doing that if you've done it for 8 years at a high level. So yeah,
Yeah.
I like that you mentioned that. I think it just au- experience isn't automatically a qualifier to be
Yep.
an expert in that field, right? Good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't want to use it as a grift. I do think there's lessons to sort of be learned from it. And I think it's been a unique experience. I mean, at some point, I think maybe after like a month of being sober, it kind of dawned on me that like that was probably, no, maybe not. Maybe it was 3 months or so, but whatever it was, fairly short amount of time. I'm like, damn, I'm 30, and this is probably like the longest that I've gone without like having like a drink or smoking weed or something or whatever since I was like 18.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, it's a crazy thing to think about. I'm like, oh man, this is like a really just such a common thing that I don't know. It was a weird realization. But I think it gives me some insight into things that can be applied to training, or like, even specifically, I when I started doing jujitsu, um, I learned very quickly a lot of like life lessons that people, because people talk about that all the time. They're like, oh,
Right.
sports will teach you life lessons or whatever. It's like, sure, but not through like osmosis. You
Right.
can't, you actually have to analyze what you're doing to gather any of that. Like at this point, 10 years later, I know like, oh man, I really should have watched more film in football. And what that translates to is like, in life, I probably should periodically review
Right.
what went wrong and where we need to make some adjustments. Or, if you like hesitate during a play, typically that's where people get injured. And I think the same thing happens in life, where it's like if you hesitate to make a decision, there's a time delay, there's money, there's resources, emotions, whatever that get involved in that. People get hurt when you start to make these kind of half in, half out sort of decisions. But I didn't know that when I was like 22 when I was playing football. But doing jujitsu, dude, immediately, like one of the first things that dawned on me was I was like, oh, okay, like anger is not going to help anything because you
Right.
get into a bad spot, like you're not always in control, and that's sometimes fine. I think the second thing was that like when you get stuck in a hard position, there is a way out, and it's okay to like sit for a second
Right.
with needing to figure out what that way is.
I love
As
that, man. Yeah, that's good.
yeah, yeah, and as long as you find that and you start to try some other thing, you will get out of it eventually. It's not like you're not going to die. You're
Yeah. Yeah.
like it's all going to
It's
be good.
very controlled environment, in there, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. So no, it's been cool. But I think that's people talk about authenticity, and I think it's a more obvious answer than a lot of people want. And also, like, along with that, one of the things I've been doing is there's this dude Nick Comedina, who he's like I guess my business mentor at this point because I've joined his group as well, which is more for business coaching, but a lot of it has to do with identity work. He's got like a challenge for 100 days to post under 30 seconds, like your sort of most controversial opinions,
mhm.
ideally about your kind of niche or whatever it is, or your service or industry. But honestly, the things that I have found in that is that the beliefs that you have that you've never really questioned and seem very obvious to you are actually the ones that end up being more controversial than when you're trying to like stir the pot or you're trying to be
Yeah.
inflammatory.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of those come across as disingenuous and it seems like you're trying to bait people. But every time that I've said something that's just like very obvious to me, people want to give their opinion right back, and they're like, oh no, that's totally wrong, like this doesn't make, like I said, oh, you only have to get in shape one time. I can't tell you how many women got on there and they're like, not if you're a woman, not
No.
if you've had kids,
But
not
but
if
but I
you,
think these are the things that this kind of goes to what you're saying, like authenticity, identity, right? I think
yeah,
sometimes like I heard this thing and I said it before, it's like, who are you? Like, and that's not an easy question to answer because you sometimes people say their job, right?
yeah,
They'll say
yeah,
what they do.
yep,
They'll say their role, like you're a husband, I'm a dad,
yep,
I'm a husband, like, but that doesn't tell anybody who you are. And
yeah,
but I don't know if I can answer that for myself, and I don't know if a lot of people can. So you start
yeah,
thinking, "Hey, who am I? I'm like just a dude, right? Sometimes like I answer it that way too. People are like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, I'm just a guy, man. Like, I don't know what to
yeah,
tell you. I try to make it that way. And sometimes like that may not be good because it seems like you're unsure, and I think in some ways I am because I'm not my job, I'm not this role I am in the world, It's just like, man, it's a tough thing. And people hold on to these beliefs, right? Like, I gotta get stronger. I bench 285 now, I gotta get to 290.
yeah,
And now that you've been doing jujitsu, I just talked about it before, it's like, cool. Like this guy, he's bigger than me, benches 280. How come he can't push me off of him?
yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah,
doing horizontal push strength. Like where is that? So I think it's like these these opinions. That's a good point. It's like those things you can just say it's a controversial opinion, and then at the end of the day, it's an opinion. Like you
mhm,
don't have to believe what I believe. I'm just saying this is what I believe. I've been doing jujitsu, and I
yeah,
roll with people who bench 280, and they can't push me off of them.
yeah.
So do you need bench press? So this is I think it's a funny thing.
I'll tell you, as somebody who was training jujitsu a lot and then tore their pec benching, I probably will not go. I don't think it's super necessary, honestly. No, and it is a good point. I mean, that's yeah, it's really it's been a humbling experience, like training with especially guys that are smaller or even older or younger than
Older,
you.
older, yeah.
I mean, you get somebody that's like in their 50s and they're 160 pounds, but they're a brown or black belt or something like that, and you just get kind of manhandled. You have no way to deal with it. It's very humbling.
Yeah, I think it's good for people to do that. 'Cause I think you're like a lot. They say it all the time. You're just more calm. Like, you're like, I'm not gonna like bark at this guy. Like, I don't know what he knows. Like, I could just he could just kill me. I have no idea.
Yeah, that too.
It's anybody. It's anybody. When you're on the mat, it could be anybody. It could be a white. It doesn't matter. Like, imagine we all just wore gray belts. You couldn't, or you're
Yeah,
colorblind. You
yeah,
know who can get you by
yeah,
looking.
100%, man. I like the that's actually one of the because like so running gyms, I think I do this thing kind of innately where if I go into a different sort of mode of training, I like start to try and see what I can take away from what they've done with like the setup of their class or their sales process or marketing or something along those lines that might be applicable. One of the most impressive things that I didn't expect or didn't know would happen is at the end of every class, lining up by your rank
Right.
and then, high five, whatever, quick compliment to people. I think those two things, especially in that sequence, are very powerful when it comes to building community and having respect for some other folks around you. And then also, yeah, going out and being in public, especially I think as like a young man going out to like even like bars or anything like that. I remember like, people getting in fights all the time. You have no idea who you are fighting
Yeah.
ever
It's
is what they're
scary.
genuinely. I think if you have zero training, it doesn't really matter how big or fit you are. If somebody has like, dude, if they have like 6 months of combat sport training and like consistent training at a good facility, that's a
Okay.
wrap. That's a wrap. You're not there's like it makes you a much calmer person, I think. And also like, yeah, there's just a lot of more like innate respect. And there's, kids in the class that are 14 years old or something. And there's guys that are 60 that have been training for 10, 20 years, something like that. And I think it's a good thing to do as a normal practice. And I would like to see a way to incorporate that into maybe like group training to some degree, whether it's like CrossFit or whatever. But just coming together at the end of the class and having some sort of mutual respect or something along those lines. Because I think that's something that's missing from a lot of places. Is like you get done with a session and then everybody just kind of like, all
Right.
right, bye, and like maybe they hang out outside of class or something like that. But yeah, that was a really cool thing that I wasn't really expecting.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. You like you I think you've done the gyms and the stuff is I think you have a good gym is when your members, your clients stick around for a second.
Hmm.
Stick
Yeah,
around. They're talking to you or they're talking to each other. You're like you have something right. Like
yeah,
they have a place where they sometimes just maybe come in and get a little sweat and get the conversation right. So
yeah,
I like the mention of the respect thing. I think at some point it changed, right? It didn't really happen to me. I'm 40 now, but people older, like you would call your boss like Mr. or
yeah,
Sir,
yeah,
like
yeah,
or even in the college setting, you call your the person teaching you professor. But now they don't do that, and I think it's a more of a detriment than it's a good thing because
yeah,
you don't want you just call me just call me Brian. I'm like no
yeah,
no doctor so and
yeah,
so. I think like we lost. I think we need to bring that back. Like, back in or maybe our parents or grandparents, like they would call whoever their boss was by
yeah.
sir or ma'am. We don't do that anymore. So,
Right.
I think it's a detriment.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think, I think social media has kind of like clouded that as well because back to the experience thing, there are a lot of people out there that are solely operating from like, oh, well, this is my lived experience. So I know how to move everybody along this line to kind of what my results have been. And there's a lot of folks that are really not qualified to be doing what they're doing. But I think then the qualification becomes like a blurry subject as well, because it's like, well, if you can somehow go online and target a very specific person who looks like you did before this transformation or whatever, and move them to where you were after the transformation, and you can do that successfully, I think that is qualified to some degree, you know what I
Right.
mean? But there's also no guardrails around that to
Okay.
save people from getting into bad positions with coaches or business mentors or whatever it is. Sobriety, I've seen sobriety coaches like as a thing popping up a lot, and I'm like, I think you should see a therapist or something like that, or somebody that's like has some sort of like drug or alcohol education to like help you out of that situation, and probably not the guy that's just like doing this as an influencer type of thing. It's like it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's hard because there is like that like obey your master thing, right?
Mhm.
that there's some good in that, but there's also like bad in that too. Like just do
Mhm.
as I say, right? So I think, yeah, I don't know, man. It's very deep. It's beyond my scope, and it's a lot we have to learn and change. I think. I mean, I think just part of it's like education maybe needs to change a little bit, and I'm sure it's changing now with AI. Like how you're going to stop this thing,
Yeah. Are you guys implementing that like in your courses at all? Like, have you addressed AI as a,
It is very loose because now, let's just say I'm teaching a class, like how much do I want to police everybody's submission?
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, so like it's kind of that, like the thing I tell these guys, like you just tailor your assignments to make it fit, right? It may not be like the way we learn, like
yeah,
instead of just talking about muscle contractions, like have them demo it, right?
yeah,
Concentric, iso eccentric, like have them be more involved. That so it's gonna be more like I tailored my curriculum more like opinion based stuff, just to get them to talk a little bit. It isn't necessarily like pass or fail, but just to get them to talk a little bit, right? And I teach online too, so it's easier sometimes. Like, hey, you got to if you want to do this, whether you're a PT or whatever, like it's kind of like what you said, like you got to sell something.
yeah, yeah,
Is it? I mean, you could be a PT at a whatever at a big company, but if you're your own PT, people are like, oh, I want to be my own PT. I'm like, okay, cool. Then how are you
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
sell the PT? You
yeah,
know, it's cool to want to run your own gym, but how are you gonna sell it? And I think when we first started, like, "Oh, I don't want to sell. I just want to coach. I just want to train. I'm like, I get that, but like you got to sell at some point. You might
yeah,
not be like selling directly right now in front of you trying to convince you, but you need to convince that person to come back, right?
yeah, yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, what was I gonna ask? I was gonna ask something. Oh, that yeah. When it comes to your curriculum, like how is that designed by you specifically for each course, or is that put down? Like, is there a sort of outline from
So
the school that comes down and like, hey, you got to hit on these things?
yeah, pretty much all colleges, universities, from my understanding, they have what's called student learning outcomes.
Okay.
You have like three or four for each class, and then as long as you get there, it doesn't mean it really matter how you do, which is nice. Like that's is why like you might have taken a history class, you're like this dude was a hippie and it's weird, but I learned something. Right? I think that's what's cool about the like college experience, right? Uh,
Uh-huh.
so yeah, I think you just as long as you hit the outcomes, you could do it numerous different ways. Like we've been in school long enough to do every type of thing, right? Uh,
Yeah.
I think before projects were a little bit weird. I think
Mm.
now they're a better time to do it than anything, making group
Yeah.
projects together. I think we need more of that. Yeah, just building that community. And I think, like you said, I think it's so important to get them out of their shell now.
Mhm.
Like I get students with dreams and aspirations. I'm like, you want to work for the Lakers? You can't even talk to me. How are you going to talk to
Yeah.
them? Like, you got to be able to have these conversations and be cool and all that. I think that goes along further. I tell a story to my students. It's like I had a B minus in grad school, and you can't have that in grad school. I need a B, and I had a B minus. I told my professor, I'm like, no. He's like, what? I'm like, no, I get a B, man. He's like, what? I'm
Yeah.
like, participate all the time in your discussions. I'm the only one that gets it going.
Yeah.
He's like, after further evaluation, yeah, I will bump you up to a B because
Yeah.
it's like those are things that you can do. It's like you don't have to be like the best student in terms of grades, but like what are you bringing value? Like I brought value to that class. Otherwise, if without me, that would have been a boring class. No one's talking, right?
Yeah. That
So
makes sense.
okay, so you're doing this stuff, and is that the challenge thing you're talking about, where you're posting every day? That's a separate thing.
So Nick's thing is like 100 days. I think I'm on day 74 or something like that. It's not necessarily part of his like curriculum for the business mentorship thing that I'm in, but I saw it on social media and I was like, you know what, like whatever. Because this honestly, so like I think when you don't have, especially if people are starting like if it's a newer or smaller account, um, I don't think you can have really any shame in posting anything. So if there were things, especially like I still do this, but especially like in January, February, March, if there was anything that I could grab onto where I was like, oh, I could do that every day, or I could do that a couple of times a day, I would add it to kind of what I was trying to do throughout any given day. The other benefit I had was I was like, that was the only thing I was doing at the time. I was doing like a couple of other events, so it was like all day long. I could train 3 times in a day, and then like update a couple of programs, and then just post and post and post and post and post. So I think like right now on my main page, there's 500 posts or something like that, like 500 reels that I've posted, which also means that in my trials, there's probably another 1,000 at least. Because on average, I am making a video. Like initially, I was posting up to like 10 times a day. Um, and
Wow.
yeah, and like, and they didn't have any parameters on trial reels for a little while. Now I think you can only post 20 times a day. But with trial reels, what I was doing was basically every post I made, I was making between 2 and 5 different versions of that post, and they
Oh,
were like sometimes small tweaks, but it was like font, color, placement of the text, what the kind of title of the video said, or different types of captions, stuff like that. And I think all of that just like through iteration. Like now I've made almost 1,500 or more posts in a 5 month span. I think that like honestly is probably the best way. Like it's I always compare things to like when it's skill acquisition, I compare it to just riding a skateboard. And it's like, okay, well, the first time you ride a skateboard, your goal is just to not fall. Like there's no you don't have it's very open ended. There's not like I mean there's you can't win skateboarding. Like there's
can't
you know so
win jujitsu either, apparently.
yeah, no, exactly. It's a very open-ended deal. So that was kind of what I was doing was I was like, well, if I just kind of out volume everything and at least it's like sort of similar to what I want to be posting. Because there's been a couple of people that have like asked me, like, hey, how are you doing this? How did you grow this account? Because I had another account for 10 years that only ever got up to like 2,900 followers, and I had no idea how to grow it. And so then I started this one, and I had a couple people ask me, and I've given them, I'm like, here's everything I'm doing. And this is exactly how I do it. And this is what I think you should do and would work, especially at this many followers, this many followers, this many followers. Like, I think right now, even like people are getting some bigger accounts. And there's been folks on Instagram for a long time. So I think like, for a while it was like 10,000, maybe it's now like 15 or 20, but like if you're at 5,000 followers and every one of your videos sounds like you should, dude, people go to your page and you could be Mr. It, like you could be the guy. It doesn't matter because you have 5,000 followers and people look at it and they go like, nah, like I'm not going to do what that guy says. So I flipped a lot of my stuff to being like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing.
I like that.
I don't know if it'll work for you,
Right.
but this is what I would recommend, right? And I think if you switch stuff to from you to I statements, and so that's like a thing that I found out just through literally just like iteration. It was like, oh, okay, these aren't, and looking at the data behind your post and seeing like actually making use of the insights and going like, well, where are people falling off the video?
Right.
Are they staying at set? Are 70% of people staying for longer than 3 seconds? Does this color font work for me? Does this placement of the caption work for me? Picking up on little things, finding out that like, dude, like 75% of Instagram users use Instagram without the sound on because they're at work and they're scrolling.
Uh,
So you need captions in your
right.
video so that people can read them. Seeing that like the background of your video matters. So like if I were to make a video right now about weightlifting or jujitsu or something, nobody has any idea.
You have two guitars.
Your guitar, yeah. Nobody's got any idea that I do jujitsu. Like I'd have to be like, oh, look at my ears or
Right.
something, you know. Um, so the setting and what you're wearing and making sure that everything kind of makes sense has been important. But yeah, I mean that's really like the biggest thing was I just like started posting a ton, and the challenge video that you were asking about that was just something where I was like, dude, yeah, I can for 30 seconds a day I can rip a video. So now it's like, cool, check. I got one video. I can make it a couple of different ways. Let's say that that's 4 posts a day because I make 3 different versions and I post it to my main feed. Like that's a decent amount of volume. Great. What's like 3 other concepts that I can make in a day? So I'm like, okay, I have that. Maybe there's like a format where like the CTE videos. I don't know if you saw those, but I was like, oh, we both have CTE. I'm explaining nutrition or whatever. Like, cool, that's a format. I can do one of those, and then I can remake a trending video. And now I
I'm gonna,
have,
I'm gonna have to study your Instagram. That's I mean it's like a template, right? Once you
yeah,
have the template down, because we do it in strength and conditioning, right? It's not that you're doing back squat, it's a knee dominant exercise. I can just
yeah,
replace that. So once you have that template down of how you do your trisets, supersets, you can do anything. People are like, how do you write a workout so fast? Because it's just the template, it's in your
yeah,
head.
yeah,
Power can be all these things. knee
Yep.
down. It could be all these things. It's so easy. Like once you have that down, it's so easy. It's so people are like I can just go right in a workout for anybody anytime right now. And that's
Yeah.
the same thing with your template. Like you have the template that does this. That's good, man. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if you find them too, like there's a little bit of strategy behind it. Like some of the videos are like, if I do a talking head, it's all original. I know that that's very unlikely to go like viral
Right.
unless it's something that seems profound to other people. That's fine. There's other videos where like people might send it to their friend.
Right. Right.
So
Right. That was it. No one comments. Nobody does that. It just gets sent around. Yeah. Yeah.
they get sent around, but that's reach, right? That's reach. People see, they discover you through that. There are other ones that are just like they're trending, and so you remake them because you want to train. Like if you get a video that goes viral and then your next like 10 don't and they tank, the algorithm then thinks like proportionately that like your content is not worth pushing,
Oh,
because the biggest thing is that like Instagram wants people to stay on the platform
right.
and they want eyes on the platform. So if people are falling off of that other video compared to how your other one performed, that's not great.
Right.
So you do want to like pad the stats a little bit by finding some trending things that make sense and you can fit your own sort of narrative into and kind of recreate. And then those might get some reach because people retweet them or repost them or send them or whatever, because maybe it's funny or maybe it's relatable. Also kind of introduces you to a new audience if you're
Yeah.
using them for trial reels and stuff along those lines. And then you can start kind of bridging the gap. So like for me, I did a lot of stuff early on where I was just frame by frame copying a trending reel. And then I had like that was just, I didn't, there's no creativity there. I just remade the video. Then I had these ones that were like, oh, I'm explaining nutrition, but we both have CTE. Well, that I have to write the script for, but it's a format that I know works, is digestible to people, and bridges the gap from this guy's just remaking shit to, okay, he kind of knows what he's talking about. Now I'm going to follow.
Yeah.
And then you get to my page, and a lot of my stuff is talking head, which is now all kind of, it's my opinions. It's maybe controversial to people, but it's process stuff. It's how I coach people. It's what I believe in for my coaching, and it's things along those lines that are more related to fitness. So you can get people to kind of follow that funnel.
I love that. So, okay. So a couple more questions. Like, what are you planning to do with the reach? Is there an end goal right now for you for this thing? Is it like, hey, I want to get to 1 million followers. I want to get X amount of views. I want to
Yeah.
sell something. What are we
Yeah,
doing?
no, so the reach, no, not necessarily. I've seen metrics that like you should be able to monetize about 1% of your audience. So for me, that would be about 200 people right now. So if I can get 200 people by the end of the year to opt into a coaching offer, whether it's one-on-one or a group thing, that's kind of where I'm going with this. And then to be able to make more than I reasonably could at like a W-2 position with this, and along with some other things, I think that would be solid. And then maintain enough reach that I can get a couple of like brand deals going that are kind of on a longer, like a monthly retainer or something, whether that be with a supplement or with a apparel line.
Yeah, you worked with some brands before. You did the virus thing. I know
Yeah,
that. I did.
yeah,
I didn't get on the website like you did, but
yeah, yeah.
so did something like I know they had like some changes. Like, did it disappear for you too? Like,
Yeah, that one. So I was working mostly I was working in the marketing department there, kind of more in a remote role. And then when we went back into the office, I was probably there for another like 2 months during COVID, and then kind of dissolved. But I ended up doing some fit modeling just honestly because I was like in the office,
yeah,
and they were like, "Hey, can you like model some of these shorts and stuff?" But yeah, I've had like Kill Crew is
yeah, I
they make
saw that.
shorts and stuff. So I've had them reach out. I did a series of 5 videos for them, and then we're in talks to get on a longer contract and do that as a recurring thing. And then there's a bunch of companies that have like affiliate stuff, but I'm looking for more like paid collaborations at this point.
Yeah, I've gotten a few, nothing crazy. I got this
Yeah.
red light Kenny on thing. I've gotten a few things here and there. Most of it just like to try this stuff. I haven't got anything where I got like paid a substantial amount of money, but it's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, dude, like if I can get paid 500 bucks for a video, like sick.
yeah, that's a lot of money, right? So that's cool. Okay, so talk to me about that 600 million or 6 million view deal. Like,
Uh-huh.
what's it like on your phone? Does your phone go crazy sometimes? You're getting all these comments. Like, what is
Yeah,
that? Are you
for
filtering stuff? How do you get through all these comments? It seems so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, for a while, like that's one of the things I think that pushes your reach a little bit more is like being able to like interact with people that are commenting. So I try my best to respond to almost every comment or at least like every comment. Dude, yeah, for a while I would pick up. So for a minute, I was actually gaining like 1,000 to 1,200 followers a week, and so like every time I would pick up my phone, I would open it and I would have like it was like every notification on Instagram was on there. It was like, oh, this person reposted, you have 50 comments, you had 35 new people follow you, there's like 100 something likes, and it was like every time I would pick up my phone. So I just turned the notifications off.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it seems like a lot. Like, so with this stuff, I mean, you're a little bit more free now. Do you set aside like certain time? Like, do you treat this like a job? It is like a job, but do you treat it where you're like, hey, I have these hours for this thing, these hours for this thing? Like, how like regimented are you, and then how like flexible are you with yourself and your schedule and all this?
I really wish I was that organized. I honestly, because I've been doing a lot of talking head videos, I don't really organize the time around it that much. I just go like, oh, I thought about this thing. Usually I'll think about stuff on a walk or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'll either do it on the walk or when I get back. And then I typically, honestly, I'll do a video. If it takes me longer than 2 takes to do it, I just scrap it and I just like don't do it. So I usually spend like maybe 5 minutes making a post. And I do need to organize that a little bit better because there are some other types of posts that I need to start integrating in a little bit more so I can continue to get some more reach. Because right now it's mostly just talking head, and I think people are going to get sick of that. But I've been doing that honestly because I haven't been training so much, which
All
sucks.
right.
So I don't have as many like B-roll shots or stuff like that or things that I could be insightful about. Um, but yeah, I mean, honestly, I just fit it into my day. I will set up the camera and just kind of film whatever I'm doing. I don't really like structure it necessarily. I probably should, but I would need to come up with an actual calendar for that. Right now, it's just I try and I'm posting 3 to 5 times a day.
Yeah, that's a lot. So with your training right now, how have you adjusted your training with the pec deal? Like
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu, right? So like how are you
yeah.
adjusting?
Mostly just doing I like ruck a lot, and then I have been doing mostly lower body splits, but I do a little bit of like I don't know, I've been doing some pec stuff. Like honestly, it's more like rehab, and so a lot of shoulder work, some flies, mostly eccentric. It's been like 8 weeks now, or no, maybe a little bit longer, maybe 7 weeks. Yeah, maybe 7 weeks now. But so it's healing. It's definitely, it was a partial tear, um, and it won't. It's like slightly deformed, so it's I don't think it's ever going to get back to where it was. But it's not, it doesn't require surgery right now, and it wouldn't really be worth it. So just been doing a lot of shoulder work, some tricep stuff, a lot of bicep training, and then a lot of eccentric flies and things along those lines. I've gotten into pressing recently.
Mhm.
Um, and like last week, I actually did a workout that was like a partner workout where each person was supposed to do 100 reps of bench. I was like, oh, this is the first time I've benched in like half. So if we could just use the bar, that would be sick. So I had to do that. But yeah, looking forward to getting back into some training. I think I have a client that's training for High Rocks, and I think I'm going to get in some sessions with them. So I'll be doing a
Nice.
little bit more conditioning, which has honestly been more of my focus recently. Anyway, is a little bit more conditioning and less lifting. I will still incorporate some Olympic lifts into what I do, but mostly just like power cleans and stuff like that, maybe once or twice a week.
Yeah, nice, man. So, okay, earlier you said you like train, work out 3 times a day or whatever. Um, it's kind of a loaded question, but it's for you and I both, I guess. It's like I feel like I need to work out twice a
Mhm.
day. And I
Yeah,
don't know if it's like I'm a psycho or we're meant to that. We're meant for that as
yeah,
primal species. But I feel like if I don't do those things, I feel off, man. And it sounds crazy, but I don't know. I don't know if that's like a thing. This is again, these are just opinions. I don't know if people have like mental health issues because they're
yeah,
not doing these things, right?
yeah,
Lucky if they get three a week, you know. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know if that's normal. I think you should. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, what do you like? What are your thoughts on those things?
No, 100%. I saw something recently that said anxiety is when energy doesn't have anywhere to go, and depression is when thoughts don't have anywhere to go. I think that's 100% true, and it's honestly like why I need to train 3 times a day because I will feel very crazy if I don't. Like I like walking feels like my head is like unraveling, kind
Yeah.
of like it's like, oh, there's all of these thoughts up in here that Like if I sit at a computer all day and try and like just even if I'm trying to like write everything out, I literally will not get anything done because I'll just like I keep making like lists and I'll keep planning and I'll keep like designing program, but like I won't write the actual program and I'll be like, well, these are all the needs and this is what the split's going to be and this is the days that they can train on and these are the priorities and this is like I think the method that I'm going to use for the strength block and this is like, but I won't actually write the program like in the computer. So I need to go out and I need to walk. And then honestly, like I feel small if I don't lift, and then if I can get in like a run or if I can go to a jiu-jitsu class or something, then that would like round out my perfect day. But yeah, I got to do something. And it usually is a combination of ruck, run, lift, jiu-jitsu, or something like yoga.
Yeah, yeah. Now, other than jiu-jitsu, like you're an athlete, do you do any sports now, like pick up basketball or anything like that?
I'm actually playing softball on Wednesday nights right now.
Nice.
Uh, it's pretty fun. But yeah, every once in a while I'll join like there's called Beach City Sports out there in
Yeah.
Newport. And I'll like join a flag football team or something.
Yeah, I feel like it's so important. Like, yeah, I mean, same way. Like today, I'm thankfully I have the ability and the availability for it. Right. So I did jiu-jitsu this morning. I lifted just before our call, and then
Yeah,
I'm gonna play softball tonight. So I already feel better like knowing I have that. I think I don't know, man. Like, so if you had like a regular desk job, what would you do? Like, how would you try to work out twice a day?
dude. Yeah, I'm not sure. I honestly probably like just before and after work. I like sometimes I'll get up at 3:45 and start rucking at that time because I usually try and get in about an hour. So I mean, if you could do that reasonably and then go and like go to some type of workout class and then have something afterward, that would be sick. But I know that's not reasonable for most people.
Yeah.
I would probably like stack it on the weekends and try and get a bunch of other activity in during that time.
Yeah. That's why I think it's so important. Like I think rucking's is such a great idea, man. You don't need anything. Just put a little
Yeah.
vest on your backpack and just if you have a desk job, go. Like you don't need
Yeah.
to sit for an hour to eat, man. Just shove
Yeah.
food down your face, man. That's I don't think sometimes people don't like those answers, right? These are just opinions. You don't have to agree, but you can do some version of that.
Yeah. 100%.
Cool, man. Well, yeah, I really appreciate your time. That was some good stuff. I got some good insight from that. I'll have to watch this again and do some of that stuff on Instagram.
Dope.
Yeah,
Sick.
man.
I appreciate you having me
Yep.
on.
Yeah, we'll talk soon, man.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, take care.